Hey everybody, it's time for even more Barrack Saga. And once again, in this chapter, the two side quests open up at the same time, so I have no idea which one is 6-1, which one is 6-2. I could just look it up on Seren's Forest, or I could just wait until one of you guys tells me. Anyway, it is time for preps. First and foremost, we pick up our rewards for the civilian requests in the last map, and then it's time to do some hiring of mercenaries. We need Clifford again, because he is very strong, and I need someone who's very strong for this upcoming map. I can't just lean on the units I'm grinding to level 10 for once. Next up, I do my usual hiring of units for happiness purposes, and this time around I have Percival to hire for this purpose as well. He only needs to reach 2 happiness to be permanently recruited later on, but it's still best to do that as soon as possible in my opinion. With that out of the way, it's time to go dump some materials in the atelier, as one particular person in my comments section has been telling me to do a couple of times. So I'm finally doing it with one of the mithril sheets that I picked up in the previous map. And also, more importantly, I'm sticking the sapphire that I just got from one of the civilian requests into the liquid magic slot. Now, the liquid magic is an item that I really need to get, because it means that I don't have to give Enid another 5 levels on top of the ones I already have to, in order for her to reach 5 magic. So that's very, very important. I'm also picking up some killer arrows for Silvus, which are extremely strong. They only have 1 might, but they also have 33 base critical. And that means that Silvus, or anyone with a bow really, is going to be able to have that 33 listed crit against any enemy they like with any weapon they like. I forgot to sell the treasure momentarily while I was in the arrow shop, so I have to go back in and do that to get our extra 5,000 gold. And once that is done, I just have to trade around a couple of things before we get into the map. One of those things was moving the rapier over to Kramer, because the rapier has pretty good accuracy. Kramer's been leaning on the scimitar for kill power, and that has really low accuracy, so having a higher accuracy thing with a crit rate is probably going to be more reliable. This is also the map where I noticed that this game has some sort of system where units who aren't deployed get some experience points regardless, because I noticed that Leon, as well as Albert and Christine and all of my units that I haven't deployed in a while, are suddenly at 99 experience towards the next level, so that's really interesting. Alright, let's talk about the map now. This is overall a fairly simple map. It's just a siege map with a side objective to chase down certain enemies who are carrying food and attempting to escape the map with it. The siege point is on the far side of the map, so it's obviously going to be fastest to rush over there with my mounted units. And the first move of the map is for Ruby to rush up and one-hit KO an enemy pickpocket with 56 listed hit, which is okay because this is the first action of the map, and I can easily reset if necessary. Now, Ruby needed to start her full movement away from the pickpocket in order to get that one-hit KO, so there is a subtle tactical point for you right at the start. Next up, we're going to have Clifford move over and one-hit KO one of the enemy rogues who are trying to steal food. I believe that the more rogues you kill, the more money you get as a reward at the end of this map, so it's definitely worth doing when it doesn't interfere with the actual main objective. Next up, Faramir is going to one-round KO an enemy brigand. He is the only foot unit I have who can move far enough, thanks to having 5 move. And we want to kill the brigand because, unlike the rogues, the brigand will actually attack us. The rogue's AI is programmed to completely avoid us and head straight for the escape points, so they are no threat at all. We just have to watch out for all of the other units who are surrounding them. At the top of the map, directly north from our starting point, there is a clutch of yellow units, and they are going to be completely ignored in this map. There is absolutely no reason for me to engage with them in an LTC context, but in a ranked context, you would need to deal with them because the boss up there is carrying an obsidian. It's a bit of a wrench to miss that because it's used to make a repair stone, and I would love to have another repair stone, but it's just not worth trying to go for it. Leon is on the map for pretty much the sole purpose of being a seize bot at the end. He does some combat throughout the map, but he doesn't manage to get any kills, and I'm not really prioritizing him for combat in any way here. Now, there is a hidden archer in the forest at the start of the town who has the Overwatch skill active, and so I am sending in Ruby to bait that out. This is for the same reason why I used Ruby in Sidequest 5.1 for a similar purpose, because she needs to get shield rank, and if she had gotten hit, she would have had a chance to roll on that. Unfortunately, in this clear she did not get hit, but you'll also note that I dismounted her to prevent her mount from taking damage from that attack. With the Overwatch status cleared, I immediately moved Faramir in to kill the archer, but Faramir missed one of his attacks, and so the guy got his Overwatch status back, which is a little annoying. But fortunately he is not able to hide again because Faramir is standing right next to him. Now, in the lower left part of the map was a couple of units, one of whom is a sub-boss, and they have moved in to attack my infantry units. They basically exist in this clear for me to pick up a couple of extra kills on Kramer and Dean, and they are not going to be all that much of a threat at this point. The sub-boss is actually annoying because he has sleep arrows, but luckily I managed to dodge every one of those hits. Clifford needs to get past the Overwatch archer on this turn, which is frustrating because I didn't manage to kill him, but luckily Clifford is able to shield block, and so he takes no damage and his movement is not interrupted. He needs to do this in order to move up to the rogue and kill him, because otherwise that rogue would move in such a way that Clifford would be unable to do what I need him to do next turn. I do still want to disable this archer because Ruby needs to move past him next turn, but unfortunately both Leon and Laurentia, who try to have a go at him, manage to miss, which is very annoying and leads to the archer surviving for another turn. Now let's turn our attention to the main boss of the map, who's sitting on the seize point. I'm going to attack him with Clifford now, and what that does is it triggers him to start moving. It's unusual for a boss to move off a seize point, but this guy does, and he tries to make his way to the escape point as soon as he is engaged in a single round of combat. However, I do not want to let that happen, because this guy has a bounty on his head, and so I want to kill him or capture him, although that's much less likely. And specifically, I want to feed him to Ruby because he's worth quite a lot of experience points. Because he moves off the seize point, actually finishing this map in 3 turns is relatively straightforward as long as you can get 2 units over there. Dean is now going to move up and eliminate the Overwatch archer before he can interfere any further, so that's that sorted. And Ruby is now free to move straight past him without getting whacked. I do my best to kill the sub-boss on this turn, first with Kramer, who actually has a chance to 1-round KO with the Scimitar Plus if he manages to land both hits, but unfortunately he manages to miss both. And then I have an attempt at getting a critical hit with Sylvis using the killer arrow, but that doesn't go off either. Because he did get damaged by Sylvis, he now runs off to heal, so he is going to be surviving this map, but you know, I guess I can't have everything, and this clear took a while, so I definitely wasn't going to reset at this stage. The boss now moves off the seize point, and because I made sure to block the upper escape point with Clifford, he is unable to simply run off the map, and instead he goes down into Faramir's range. Killing this boss is frustrating because he has a miracle charm, and that means that we have to have at least 2 rounds in which he would potentially be killed. Faramir managed to get a 0 damage critical hit, which I believe is otherwise completely impossible in this game. But fortunately he has enough attacks to trigger the miracle charm and knock the boss down to where Ruby can finish him off. If Faramir had missed too many of his attacks and not managed to break the miracle charm, Laurentia would still have been available to do so. So there were some backups in place for this, but because that didn't turn out to be necessary, Laurentia is free to pick up a kill. And now Leon is going to do the only thing he was deployed in this map for, seizing the enemy fort to complete the chapter in 3 turns. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.